where we explore practical ways to live a healthier and more fulfilling life. Today on the program, we focus on a very important aspect of our well being and overlooked. Some people would say it's often overlooked. It's an often overlooked element of general well being. And what are we talking about? Water, often known as the elixir of human life. Water is very important, but it's quite disheartening that most people can go on for days and even months without taking enough water. Sometimes they wonder why they are ill or why they're feeling a certain type of way. So today we decided to explore some of the hidden elements with regards to water, often known as the elixir of human life. My name is Priska Wankwo, and this is how we welcome you to Nonye's Healthy Living Show. And of course, joining the conversation today on the program, I'm not alone. I have two experts that are going to delve into this very important focal point of discussion. They're going to be giving us their insight with regards to why it's important that we take enough water and how it can help us stay healthy and, of course, live a more fulfilling life. And it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Iman Udame. He's a pharmacist. Doctor, welcome to Nonye's Healthy Living Show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, and congratulations, our First Lady, for the great job you're doing.
Okay, right. And of course, Dr. Iman is not alone. We also have Dr. Obin Anyabosov. He is a senior registrar at the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Chukwemeka Odumewu Juku University Teaching Hospital. Dr. Obin, welcome to Nanya's Healthy Living Show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Okay, all right. Some people say water is medicine, and some people say, how is it medicine? Do you drink it when you're not feeling fine? Why is it important? We'd like to understand by what role water plays in maintaining our overall health and wellness. Dr. Man.
Well, it is not just for nothing that people say that water is life. As humans, 60% of the body mass is also made up of water. And water does play a big role in all we do. It helps the food we eat to digest, even helps the joints to keep moving, helps the brain to remain active at all times. But most importantly, the blood that we also have in our system, without which nothing happens, is also basically the major component is water. So we need water to remain hydrated always. Just like when you see plants, good 18 also that the Nonye Healthy Living Project or show is also talking about growing foods organically. You find out that just those plants, if you don't give them water, the same way they wither off is the way when human beings also don't take water, you see the body begins to wither. It's just the way to understand it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that simplifies it, even yes, alluding to what the First Lady is doing. All right. Okay, Dr. Bina, what I would like to understand, are there specific time of the day that it's more important for people to take water?
Okay.
Like some people will say that early morning, drinking water early in the morning and all that.
Okay, well, first of all, generally, we should take water at all times. I think we should form the habit of taking water at all times. But then there's a school of thought, of course, that has proposed the idea that early morning, taking water early in the first thing in the morning also has a lot of benefits. And most of us would agree. So there are certain benefits that come with taking water early in the morning, and that would include, it helps to boost our metabolism. Yeah. So, and again, it helps to replenish the water that you lose while asleep at night, because there's something we call insensible loss of water. There's sensible and insensible loss. So the insensible loss through the skin diffusion happens all the time. But the one we get to appreciate is the sweating. But then, 24/7 we're losing water. So when you take water first thing in the morning, it helps to replenish what you've lost. It helps to boost digestion, because some people have also said that taking water on an empty stomach helps. First of all, the digestive juices, of course, they're made up of water and other things. It helps to also dilute the acid in the stomach. So it boosts your metabolism. It also helps to boost boosting our metabolism. Helps our body to work faster. we tend to burn more calories. Then also it helps to suppress our appetite. So sometimes find out when you take water first, it helps to suppress your appetite to an extent. So it helps with weight loss as well. So the benefits are
All
numerous.
right. Okay, now you've already highlighted that the benefits of water are enormous. But you would see that most of our people, we do not like taking water. Like some of us even go as far as substituting water for with caffeinated drinks, beverages. That's instead of somebody to drink water, the person would rather take soft drinks just to use it and compensate for the person's lack of taking water. Why do you think most of us find it difficult taking water? Does it matter?
Well, it depends on where you look at it. The fact is that there may be water everywhere, but the one safe for drinking may not be readily available.
Okay.
And when you take water that is not, that is say unwholesome, and it could also lead to some other problems and complications. So that's why some persons also, when they are not too sure of the quality of the water
Okay.
available, may resort to taking those drinks. But I am sure that part of what the good job the First Lady is creating through this line of conversation, is that we must not lose sight of the fact that nothing substitutes for water. So that as soon as you get access to good, clean drinking water, one should take as much as you can. Just like my colleague, the doctor said, you need water to remain hydrated. I mean, the values of water cannot really be quantified. If people knew that it's that beneficial, I'm sure it wouldn't be as cheap as it is today. But water is quite.
It's even becoming more expensive.
Yeah. Well,
Even the sachet water that was.
well, that's just our
That's the
system here.
economic
But I
reality.
believe that in due course, if we get our things together the way it should be, water should really be available to everybody.
Everyone.
Because you start your day with water, you end the day with water, especially for those of us as we get older,
Yeah, I
you need
wanted to
to be
add
taking
that.
plenty of water. Yes, in order to also keep the
Okay,
brain active.
so there is a certain age you get to that you know that you need to increase your water intake.
Well, sure, because the brain that keeps everyone going, you need a lot of water to be sure that the blood keeps flowing into the brain. To also show as we get older and the joints become stiffer, you also now need water to. But most people may not know. The only thing is that yes, if you take it much closer to bedtime, make sure also you stay close to your. There's nothing wrong with getting up to go and urinate at night. Actually, nothing wrong with that. But where you cannot, there's also nothing wrong with placing some buckets and all that beside you. As you get older, these are things people must just come to terms with, so that you don't struggle to get up and probably fall down in the process and all that. But water is really essential and key. And even look at infants, most of them survive on water at that level. Water is basically what mothers feed to their children. Even the breast milk the children take and all that, it's predominantly water with a few natural additives. So water is life, anytime, any day, but provided it is also not contaminated water, so that you don't create other problems.
Okay, what you just said now, Dr. Iman, about getting up in the night to go relieve yourself. I think some people have stated that is one of the reasons why they do not take enough water. Some people might tell you that they might be at the office, they don't want to go and ease themselves.
That's why I now mentioned the fact that for the people shouldn't be ashamed of that. Put a pan beside you or a bucket and probably get up and do it there, and in the morning you throw away. So that, yes, most modern houses now you have the conveniences attached to the rooms, but even where it is there, sometimes you may, as with age, you may wake up, the joints are also not yet awake and all that, so it will be difficult for you to move. So put something beside you and get it done. In the morning you clean up. There's nothing wrong with that. Otherwise, again, we now have also Pampers, adult Pampers, and people shouldn't be ashamed of wearing it. That's sure. You get it, wear something, and because that's call of nature. Once it comes, you must obey that. And as we also get older, the bladder and all that, the ability to control it gets reduced. So there are times you just, once it comes, before you know it, you just have to. But so don't force it.
Okay.
Get to do it. But drink water. Don't be afraid of going to urinate.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So now we are talking about the importance of drinking water, and Dr. Mann has already stated why it's important that we need to take enough water. But is there a point that you say that somebody is taking water in excess, just like you overeat? Is there any point that it comes and you start saying that the water you're taking is too much? Is there anything like that?
Well, there's a condition known as water intoxication.
Oh, cool.
Actually, the situation where one can actually take excessive water, but that is quite rare. And then it's quite rare. And then there are usually some underlying condition. Usually could be psychogenic. Those who have some psychogenic, conditions that make them take a lot of water. You also have what we call um, diabetes insipidus. There's a certain hormone, the antidiuretic hormone. When it doesn't work as it should, then you find out that people lose a lot of water in the urine. The body is not able to concentrate urine, use a lot of water. Then they have to now compensate by taking a lot of water. So water intoxication is a pathologic condition, but it's quite rare. Most of us don't even take enough water. They will not take it. So I don't think it's something we should really worry ourselves so much. The message remains that to encourage our people to take enough water.
Okay, so what are the health risks associated with, not taking water in the right quantity? What sort of health conditions that can come up when people are not drinking enough water? And there are like signs that you see before this illness or sickness strikes.
Well, I want to believe that we are addressing the man on the street. And so if you don't take water, you get dehydrated. I mean, one of the first things that happens when you get dehydrated, you discover that blood flow, there won't be enough blood to flow, especially even to the brain region. And you may begin to get a little confused, begin to talk, not being coordinated. And sometimes you even see some persons, even what we call the street language, you say the man fainted and all that. And most times, because when there's not enough water, also the electrolytes that help to maintain the balance, the physiological balance in the body becomes distorted because it won't be at the normal values. So the basic thing is that dehydration could lead you begin to see dry skins, the person becomes disoriented, you begin to also see some adults, even confusion sets in and not knowing where they do. And so just like I said earlier, there actually should be no substitute for taking enough water. And the benefits far outweigh the risk. And just like my colleague said, yes, especially in today's economy where there may not be enough food also, you find out that when you drink water, initially, it gives you a false sense of fullness so that you now take the smaller food. And for ladies like you also want to watch their weight, it may not be good for people in my profession, pharmacists, because you now with water, you begin to eat less. Otherwise, you would have visited to collect drugs and probably help boost our economy. But those are low, easy ways of also controlling weights.
So you're saying water can actually substitute for food. Is there a certain amount of water you drink that you won't get hungry?
Not well, not necessarily, but at least it helps. In fact, most times when you're hungry and you drink water, it helps. Especially so again psychologically, if the food is not readily there and you find water, it helps you. And you take the water, your system gets to know that at least you've done something and the hunger begins to come down. We must have to survive. Nature has made it in such a way that there are ways that will survive. But when the food is there and you're seeing it, well, drinking water may not help, and especially if you're beginning to perceive the aroma of very good soup and the typical Nigerian jollof rice. I mean, that's the right water wouldn't help. But if you're on a journey and the place where you get the food is still far, if somebody offers you water, you just get some huge relief because the person has offered you life and giving you the strength and the stamina to continue.
Okay. All right. So if you're eating, now we talked about, using water to sometimes replace food, especially for people that are trying to lose weight. What about food, mealtime, when you're eating? What is the best way to take water? Because some people will
Well,
tell you that they don't
sorry,
like
we didn't
taking
say you
water.
replace. We just said it good when
Yeah,
you
no,
take it
help
in
for
it
people that
good,
want
so
to
that
lose weight. Yeah, most
people
times they
don't
drink it
stop
now.
eating.
No,
Good.
no, they'll drink it. Or they drink it before they'll not eat. It will not get to maybe in the afternoon or something. They say it's intermittent fasting. So they'll be using water to, substitute food until they get to that certain time that they want to eat something. For most people that want to lose weight. Because
Well,
they'll
but
tell you that
even
they
at
keep
that, even
drinking
when
water.
you, because when you, water also aids your digestion and helps the food to break down pretty fast. And but the good thing it does is that water, because most time when you eat food and digest, water will now help it through the blood to get to other parts of the body. So water, yes, helps to maybe assuage the hunger before the food comes, but if after eating the food, water will also help it. It is advised that you also drink as much water as you can while you eat. Some persons who don't drink water most time end up with difficulty in passing stools, or they have very hard stools, or in some cases even end up with constipation. And when you visit the hospital, I'm sure most times the doctors also advise you first, before they get to drugs, to advise that you increase your water intake. From water, they advise that you also begin to take things like vegetables and all that before you will now get to medications. These are things that we do. So nature actually is a natural healer.
Okay, but
That's correct.
sometimes some people will tell you that if they drink water while they're eating, that they will be filled, they will be full,
That's a
and they
is
cannot be able
I
to
feel
finish the food.
that's a benefit. So those
Want to lose
who
weight.
want to lose weight, yeah, it fills
Not
you
even
up to
what
an extent.
about the
Then you
people
now
that don't want to
consume
lose weight
you
in
consume less.
Those who want, yes, but yes, because you also, there are persons who are simply greedy when it gets to food. The man will tell you what he wants water to wait first until he finishes,
finishes the
but
food.
he doesn't know the harm, because the water as you're eating also helps the food
It helps the
and
digestion
to
because the
digest.
saliva too has water,
Yeah.
digestive juices, and then the water also helps to push the food down. So
Okay, so talking about kidney stones, what is the role of water in preventing diseases like kidney stones and UTIs?
okay, water plays a very essential and critical role in prevention of some renal conditions like kidney stone and urinary tract infection. And how does it do that? Of course, we know the importance of kidney. The kidney helps us to produces the urine, helps the body to get rid of toxic substances, uh, mainly urea. So, of course, when you're well hydrated, when you take adequate water, it helps the kidney to actually do its works properly. Then the various chemicals, things like calcium that make up kidney stone. Because when you have adequate water, it helps the kidney to flush them down. But then, if you're dehydrated over a long time, what happens is that these elements, these substances get concentrated, like calcium stone and all that gets concentrated. Then it begins to precipitate as stone. So, if you're well hydrated, if you have good, you take water adequately, then the likelihood of having kidney stone will be rare, because those substances will not be able to precipitate, because the kidney will continually flush them down. Then the same thing with urinary tract infection. Of course, women are more prone to urinary tract infection because they have a short urethra. So easily the germs can get in from their vagina, from the anus into their urethra. So then with adequate water, then the body system, the kidney is always flushing down those germs. If you take water adequately, the system will be able to flush it out, flush out the germs before they can get into your bladder through the urethra, where they can cause urinary tract infection. So being well hydrated is very important in prevention of this.
All right, some people will tell you that they do. Yes, I know that a lot of people don't like drinking water, but some people will tell you that they can't drink water without, adding something to it. Telling you that they can't drink plain water without infusing some kind of thing to it. Do you think it's a good habit? And does it have any way of encouraging people? Some people say that they do not drink plain water. Maybe they drop something inside the water, something that will make it more enjoyable for them to take. Is that really a healthy thing? Is that a healthy option?
Well, the thing I must say is that it seems we have a lot of doctors walking the streets than we have in the hospitals. People would try to also do their prescriptions and all that. But
especially online.
yes, well, online is a more recent thing, but you
Before
get everybody claims to know something
something.
about something, even when they cannot substantiate, even when they've also not seen it work. But people claim, oh, it has worked and all that. But the fact is that water is still water, and water is best taken plain as water. If you begin to add other things, well, no two persons are the same, and just like this says, we are using the water primarily as medicine. But when you now begin to add other things, after all, most medicines also water forms the base. And so once you begin to add things to it, it's no longer water. Call it whatever it is. But the advantages of taking water as it is, in the natural form, will always far outweigh that of water with other things. But if anybody knows what works best for, because people claim it works best for them, and no matter what you tell the person, he keeps telling you that he's been taking it and all that. Even though nobody has got the right to take his or her life or to also to endanger his or her life, but if people insist on doing that, wish them well until they probably have need to go see the doctor and find out how much harm they've done to themselves. But these days, again, by the time they get to even before getting to the doctor, we pray they get there early enough that they don't get to probably one man or woman of God who will begin to also allude to the fact that is somebody behind the house or one elderly person
Someone
that
in the
is
village.
responsible. These days they say
your
village people. As if so, everybody has left the village now to live in the city. So I don't know who they refer to now as village people.
Township
But
people,
the
maybe.
fact is that the life we live and the way we abuse our lives come to take that toll on us. And we often blame it on others. That's why I think it's good we are talking about healthy living. Even the WHO on their own places more emphasis on preventive and promotive medicine than curative. Yes, please, we want people to take actions to maintain a lifestyle that will make them not to fall sick and not necessarily coming to probably put a burden on the lean health resources we have.
Okay. All right. So beyond water being something that you can use to quench your thirst, studies have shown that it's actually essential for our overall health. And the topic is water as medicine, hydration habits for better health. So, Dr. Obi, now what hydration habits can people adopt to stay healthy and safe from certain diseases and ailments?
Okay, granted that in our busy world, a lot of adults sometimes we can get busy and we forget about taking water. So there are different strategies that are advocated, to help adults maintain that good water taking habits, and something like um, making sure what we mentioned earlier. Make sure that first thing in the morning you drink a glass of water. Do that later at night. Then when you're at work, you can set reminders. Maybe every hour, look for a glass of water to take. Then there's a good thing that I see a lot of ladies do. They carry water
These
bottles around.
bottles there.
Yeah, always have
That's right.
your water bottle one close to you. Then it will remind you to keep sipping throughout the day. And then some people, water is just plain, it's not sweet. People who like sweet things. Of course, doctor have said that there's no substitute to water. But then in situations where people find it hard to take water, maybe they can flavor it with lime, lemon. Some people do that, as opposed to, taking soda and the other unsafe things. Of course, fine, that can add to your water intake. Maybe you should take all the different soda, sweetened fruit juices out there, but that is not good for your health, because of the empty calories and all that. But maybe it's allowed. Maybe you can flavor it with lime, lemon. That is okay. So those are just part of the strategies, that if you adopt, you can actually increase our daily water intake and help prevent different diseases.
All right,
Yeah,
Dr.
let
what?
me also, because
After
when
that.
you're talking about the hydration habits, I know what some uh, organizations do and the institutions is that in most places they now as much as place water because most people
Okay.
hardly even remember. So I think we should have even had some. So because you find out that when we had started seeing high prevalence of sexually transmitted diseases, and the people in that sector, in order to help people curtail it, started placing condoms at various places at will, so that rather than people probably out of stigma and going to pharmacy find difficult to ask. Now, as you're walking into a place, you just see what you pick and you go your way. The same way there are now organizations that as you visit, they see water placed at strategic points, even when there are meetings, you see at the entrances and all that, so that people don't really need to start begging. Water is such a common thing that people should really have access to as easily as possible. Some persons may not want to ask, but once it is just there and they know, you see, just people see that. Because if you're looking at the water, the tendency that you forget to drink will be far reduced. Yes. So even in workplaces, even at home, we advocate that people should have water placed at strategic points so that people drink them. If you look at the good old days, even than keep it just, it may be some 10 few feet so that you need to get up, but it should be a place where you need to see that there's water there for you. All you just simply need to do is get up, go pick your water. Every office should really have at least a water dispenser, because that's more affordable. You put a water dispenser. Every home should even have it. Now we also have disposable cups so that people can use and dispose. The water should be made available everywhere. We used to have, in the days when we used to have pipe-borne water along the streets, you watch that even people as they are going, they stop by, take water, drink, and move on. We also need to talk to our people, the well-to-dos. Yes, as you have your water, and nothing stops you from putting one of the taps outside, so that people pass through. They take water. It even helps to make that water from your bowl fresh as you keep pumping it. There's no point being stingy with the things God has given you free, because the water is simply there. God has given it. All you did was just to drill, but the quantity there, you don't pay for it. So, and it just extend outside and put one tap and all that as people walk by. And it will even help. There was a trending video recent that we saw, whether it's true or not, where they said that one Hausa trader was trying to use his urine to probably keep his carrots fresh and wet. I'm sure if he had access to water by the corner and all that, except he's simply being mischievous. Yes, except that person is, but we should actually put all those things on the road so that people don't begin to now cut corners once they see the water to use. But water should be available everywhere humans come together. I am even those who make provisions, who try to hold the events and all that. One of the things they should try to do in trying to make provision for public conveniences and all that, they should also make provision for water around. Most places where we had stampede recently, I'm sure if there were also water by the side, that could have also made some of them go to take water and that, because most of them are already thirsty, having dehydrated. By the time that happened, I mean, it was just heaven. Here I come. So water needs to be made available wherever people gather. People should also know in churches. I've attended churches in some parts of the outside this country, and it's only here that we bring 1,000, 2,000 persons into a room, and you don't make provisions for them. In most other places, churches put the lower congregation, but you can get up even when the service ought to go take water, even go take some snacks. If you start feeling hungry, they make provision for those things. I don't see why even in the house of God we also should be stingy to ourselves. Even in schools, we should provide for these younger ones as they are growing up. Not to talk of offices. It's the man who is alive that gets to serve you. Like for instance, I'm sure on his busy clinic days, he may sit down from 8 in the morning till about 5 to working.
It's true.
So it doesn't, somebody should make sure that there's water available there. That's the best we can provide. But this one is that you don't provide nothing. Most times the room wouldn't even be as conducive as this. The man is sweating and he's not replacing the water.
He has to put on ties
And then
the
you
water
put on
coats.
time to work. Even our people in courts, the judges, and you even cover your head and everywhere
And
we
like
almost 4 or 5 dresses and you're just simply there. I mean, so we need to stop. That's why you see most public speakers, even that you see them water close by and as you speak. So it's highly recommended, and
yeah.
it's the least we can do for ourselves.
Okay,
Is to make
well,
sure
Dr.
there's
Ma,
water
you,
available.
you highlighted that story that trended about the person that was alleged to have been
Alleged, yeah,
using,
that's right.
alleged to be using his urine to, wash his carrots and whatnot. And he brought a question to mind. Some people will ask, how can you determine water that is actually safe for consumption? Because sometimes you might just come, you see people getting water from a tap, a borehole. Is there a way to determine water that is actually safe for human consumption, or how can we ensure that the water we are taking is safe? Because we are talking about taking water. You mentioned also
Well,
about the quality.
yes, you cannot just by mere looking at. Well, it has to be colorless. It has to be. There are ones, the physical ones, you simply have to. At least the water has to be colorless, has to be odorless, it has to be tasteless. Before that, even before you begin to test it, at least you look and all that. But most important, that is also where our public health authorities must also come to play some role. All these people are there. The only thing is that sometimes we joke with our lives until we are involved or somebody close to us. Those who fail to carry out their responsibilities think it doesn't matter until they see the effect of their negligence or inaction taking its toll on somebody close to them. Otherwise, there are offices, even today in our state, whose primary responsibility is to ensure that good quality water is not just available, but also accessible everywhere. And that even those who try to provide for themselves also make sure that the water is good for drinking. But the issue is that when people don't want to do their job, everybody simply wants the cake already baked, but nobody wants to contribute in ensuring that it's properly done. So the government has done its own. There are people who receive salaries whose primary responsibility is to go out, to even educate, to inform, to advise that people do the proper thing. And where they find out that the water you're using is not the best, also to let you not use that. There are also, because examples are bound, that there are cases recently in an abattoir where the government has provided a borehole for them. But probably some persons, because they want to, they were found themselves, they're trying to be in a hurry, they didn't want to wait to get the water from the tap, they started using the one probably running through the gullies and all that. And you see the extent to which people can go to make money, forgetting that that meat might end up being taken by somebody close to him, who will then become sick and go to disturb the doctor who should be taking care of others. These things happen. And like I said, until it happens to somebody close to you, we tend to believe that nothing happens. After all, we've been doing it for ages. No way. But having clean water and making sure the water we drink should be a responsibility all of us ought to carry out. And we should police ourselves. You don't need to wait for government. There's more in the ones we can do. Our people even in the part where engineers are getting to put alum and all that to make it, and then there are some people who fetch water, they say you need to leave it for some days, the thing need to settle, and all these are efforts our people are making. Even after building how they collect rainwater and all that into some underground tanks, they allow it settle. They'll tell you you will not drink it immediately. You have to allow it settle for some days. There are ways they say you need to boil it and all. These are precautions people take, and people are advised.
But you know, these days, most families tend to depend on, take sachet water, sachet water mostly. I think 70% of the family.
The sachet water, they
that's
call it
where,
pure water, but it's not pure.
Yeah, it's not, yeah. So the government has a responsibility now to actually regulate the producers of the sachet water to make sure that the water they produce and distribute is safe. And that's where the government comes into.
But you know that before now,
like I said, there are people who should, because the sachet water that is the pure water that is not pure being sold, there are people who should be going there to monitor them. But they only go once, probably the test run, they do all the correct thing, you walk away, they begin to mass produce.
Yes.
that we shouldn't be so. People are supposed to constantly
they are
keep
at hours,
monitoring.
pay unscheduled visits,
Yes,
test
but
the water.
when
to
you
make
walk
sure
away
it's
and take a
good.
few money by the side, and your relations keep dying of waterborne diseases, so be it.
This idea that what Dr. Obina just raised about, before now, I think that when we were growing up, we weren't taking such a water.
No.
Like, you boil water,
We used to
like,
boil our water.
boil
Yeah, we
water,
took
put it in
responsibility.
cans and all that. And all of a sudden, everywhere you go, everybody is taking such a water. They
That's
even
it.
go as far as calling the
The company.
drivers, the company,
The
they
supply.
have days that they come
That's
to
it.
supply water, and people are taking it. But some persons will still tell you that they call it pure, but there is nothing
Yes, but
pure.
it's not
It's
pure.
just simple sachet water. And some places where you see the condition where some of this water is being packaged, is really not
something,
something
yeah.
to write home about.
There's also another side to the so-called sachet water which we are not looking at, because at the end of the day, yes, you consume whatever is inside that cellophane and you discard it, and it's beginning to cause becoming an environmental problem somewhere again. And because we're also talking, the other side of this project has to also do with the agricultural part of it. So people may be wondering why our otherwise fertile lands have stopped being fertile and all that. It's because of this menace of sachet water. The government also should find a way of probably picking it, taking it back,
Recycle.
giving incentive, recycling it. We should begin to look at biodegradable things that we use to package. We must continue to package water. But because we are not doing it, it's actually creating more problems than we can imagine. And by the time the effects come up, it's going to be very dire for our people. It's already happening. But we're not looking along that direction. Everywhere in our soil, even the roads, you do the roads, the gullies get clogged up, because once these things end up there, mix up with a little sand, it begins to cake. It's because there's no frequent flow of water for it to go away. A blocking there, and then the water moves on the road, it gets into the farmlands, then something else happens. So the effect is much worse than we can imagine.
So are we to go back to boil? Do you think people
No,
will have that kind
well,
of time?
I think boiled water was actually the time that the families took responsibility for their own water.
Why,
I'm
yeah.
sure that was a safer time, because that you can vouch for the quality of the water
that
when you
you're
boil it
taking.
100 degrees and then package it. Compared to now that we just buy different sachet water, we don't know how they are produced. Like you said, we've seen video clips of places where this water is being produced, and man, it's nothing to write home about. So
Somebody said some people will not take sachet water, but will take bottle one. But is there a difference, or is it just the packaging?
it depends on where
Very different.
how it's produced. You understand?
Well, it depends. Well, for some of that's also where making it an all-comers. The thing is that there are certain things people shouldn't use as business. People must, like those who package the water and all that. If what they are trying to do is to render a social service to make sure that there's water available for people, but most of them do not see it that way. They are simply looking at how much financial return comes in. Whatever happens to those who consume that is not their business. That is the danger in it. So that's where the government needs to look at it. Before you license somebody to begin to produce, you first let that person know that he or she will be doing a quasi-social service, not purely business-oriented, so that it shouldn't be driven by the profit margin. And then maybe if we can give them some tax incentives and holiday and all that, provided they also do the right thing. But what you see is that everybody who finds it difficult to now survive somewhere goes to start the sachet water business. Some will have an office, registered office, because sometimes if you look at the address on the sachet, you begin to wonder how they make it. There will be a registered address somewhere far away, and they are selling the water here, and you ask yourself, what's the profit margin to have transported it from there? What they do is that they just get a few from there, and they stay in their backyard and be sealing up most of them, and be killing people quietly without knowing it. And when you ask them whether they've committed murder, they will say no.
I've actually bought bottled water at the park one day. I don't know, it was just instinct that just told me to perceive the mouth of I don't know. Something just told me because it's not something you do now when you just because first I opened it wasn't sealed. I was confused. Isn't it supposed to be sealed? And I took it close to my nose.
And the
Ha!
odor is good.
The odor showing that somebody actually drank and discarded,
And then they want to
and they
fill it
now
up
took
somewhere.
it
No,
and
even,
now refilled it.
no, even at that, the fact is
was
that the
horrible.
process of producing it, if the water ab initio is not even, they made the standard, by the time you cover it, after a while, it begins to, some reactions keep taking place
Oh,
inside
wow.
it.
Wow.
Even bacteria growing and all
Yes,
that,
there's
that
more
odor
bacteria
comes
growing.
naturally. That's why if you see most of the things people buy along the road, you just say, I mean, one of the primary things we need to begin to think of doing is making sure there's water available at intervals. And which is why when this came, I said, well, it's a good thing if that awareness. Our well-to-do persons or people who have found themselves blessed one way or the other should think of providing water for people. I mean, in some developed countries, as you travel on journey, they have what they call comfort zones, where every 1 hour or thereabout, the buses all stop there. People go to use the convenience, wash up, relax, stretch their legs and all that, and also take water. And those are available. And there are also sectors that we must strictly regulate things that people eat, starting with water essentially. But here it seems it's an all-common thing, and we shouldn't be so. Those whose responsibility it is to do that needs to sit up. Even the health inspectors or the public health inspectors and all that, they have now replacing the environmental health officers, are more interested in who they will serve the so-called abatement notice to collect more rather than enforcing, because they started as sanitary inspectors. Then see the sanitary condition of where, even in your home, where you stay to cook your food, the one you eat and the one you give to others. And then those whose responsibility is to make sure that this water is packaged under strict conditions as stated in the law should see to that. Otherwise, the water you take, since it constitutes most parts, keeps creating problems. The doctor will tell most people they see always come in and with these complications, by the time it becomes unmanageable, and after some prayer houses and all that have also messed up the people, or some persons make you believe it's your village people.
Even though you said that the village people that are in the township.
Everybody is in the township now.
So
Some are
what
still
is
in the
that?
village. Some in the village.
Well,
Not exactly.
in the village, if you are watching CNN, there even those in the village, you're so confident drink the sachet water, they no longer so.
They don't
So
even drink the street
everybody is
water.
now a
That's the
township
funny
person.
thing.
So there's no village person since we live the same life.
Okay, so what quantity of water should an adult, on an average, what quantity of water should an adult have per day?
Okay. Going by the recent research by the National Academy of Medicine, the recommendation is that adult males should take up to 15 cups of water a day, while
15
women
cups?
should take 11 cups.
Ladies.
Ladies,
Okay.
take 11 cups. Then children, depending on the age, 5 to 11 cups as well. But then an earlier recommendation was 8 cups a day for ladies and 10 cups for men. So I feel, to be more realistic, I mean, if you're doing 10 cups a day as a man and 8 cups a day as a lady, I think that is adequate. So that is what I recommend. But then research also showed that most people are not even taking up to 5 cups a day. So, so the deficit is significant. So that is why I commend you for this platform, the first lady for this platform. Of course, the information needs to be out there. Because for some of our people, it's ignorance. They don't appreciate the benefits, the massive benefits of adequate hydration. So that's the importance of this. People should try to take up to 10 cups for men, up to 8 cups for men. And you can do more depending on, you can even take more depending on physical activity and the weather. So times of hot weather, you find out that you sweat a lot, you lose a lot of fluid. So you even have to take more. Then those who are physically active, who engage in forms of, who do physically strenuous jobs, or who engage in next, of course, you have to take more. So as you lose more, you should replace. But on the average, I think the average male loses about 2,000 meals a day through urination, sweating, and insensible loss. Yeah, and then, of course, we should aim to replace that. And when you lose more due to the hot weather, to physical activities, you should also
What
replace
about
it.
now this dry season?
This dry season, we also need need more need to take more. Yeah. So that is it. So that's the take-home message is that a man should aim to do at least 10 cups a day, while women should take 8 cups. So that translates to close to 2 liters of water
Okay,
every day.
2 liters of water. Well, I hope that people will eventually know better. I like to believe that people are knowing better because you mentioned something about these water cans. I see a lot of people,
Yes.
and it's not even only women. Some people, yes, they use it for fashion. They use it to do shakara, but do the shakara, but let there be water inside what you're using to do shakara.
Yes.
Drink water, even if you must do shakara,
Even if it's
because you
shakara,
see
if
that
there's water
a
inside,
lot
at
of
least it
people
will
are
motivate
buying
you
all
to
these water cans.
the fancy
and
water cans.
yes, you see them. They're always holding it. I always saw some on my way here. Some ladies, young girls, they were carrying it, moving up and down. I was like, if that's the case, then everybody just drink water. And that's the most important thing, drinking water.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
talking about what about our skin? Is there a correlation between the water we take and what effect it has on our skin as human beings?
Oh, sure, it does. Taking water helps to keep the skin hydrated and fresh most times. And on the other hand, being dehydrated may lead to maybe dry skins, and so in some cases you still begin to see when the skins crack and all that. So for women who also should be more interested in keeping a very good looking skin, water should be there all the time. But you need water, it helps to keep the skin very fresh.
You spoke about constipation. A lot of people oftentimes have constipation. So those kind of people, should they be taking more water than other people who do not have any form of health condition? Some persons always complain of having constipation. Their water intake should it be more than normal? You just stated what research has suggested that women and men, the quantity of water they should take. People that have the health condition like constipation, they always find it very difficult,
To pass through.
to pass through.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
go ahead. But one of the first line advices you're giving
Yeah.
is to increase your water intake even before other things. And in most cases, you find out that when the people drink water, the problem in sanitation
Yes.
gets solved. And, but before the doctors begin to give you, they will ask you, you need to look at that. You're not even.
It's
drinking
right. That's the
water.
first advice we'll give to
Yeah,
our patients
that's the
when they
first.
come with constipation. Are you taking enough water? Are you taking enough fruits that contain water? You know, there are fruits that have a lot of water. Watermelon, cucumber, all that. That's the first thing. And then when they now do that, it doesn't work. Before we now resort to drugs. So that's the first line. So those who are constipated, chronic constipation, acute constipation, first of all, they definitely need a lot of water. And it's a no-brainer because, of course, the water will help to push the food down. And then, like I said earlier, it's also a constituent of the digestive fluids that helps. So the whole GIT health, of course, water has a big role to play, and so cannot be overemphasized. So something I've also not mentioned is that sometimes people wait till they are thirsty to drink water.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so you don't
you
have-
shouldn't wait till
You
you're
don't have to
thirsty.
wait till you're thirsty. If you're thirsty, that means you're dehydrated already. You're already in water deficit.
Oh, okay.
So you should take water. You should prevent
Getting to that
getting
point.
to that point of being thirsty.
Ah, okay.
And also, an easy way to actually monitor your water intake is from the color of your urine. Yeah. So the urine, if you're well hydrated, your urine should be clear and almost colorless. You understand? So funny, a lot of times my patients call me and say, "Doctor, I have malaria." I say, "Okay, how do you know?" They tell you, "Oh, my urine is yellow, it's brown." I say, "No, you're dehydrated. Go and take enough water. Your urine will clear up." So just one of the myths.
Okay. Talking about tracking the water before we go, yeah, I think there are some apps right now that help people to monitor their water intake. Do you think these apps that are helping? Are they doing more good with regards to pushing people to drink enough water? You see, sometimes they'll tell you it's time to drink water. Someone, I don't know how they set it. I think they download some of this app on their smartphones, and they set it at a certain point. It reminds you it's time for you to take water.
Well, our lives, we are beginning to become too automated. And without that, I think just like he said, if we make it a habit to be drinking water, you don't need any machine to remind you that you should go drink water. But most times we tend to move following this technology to an extent that it now needs to remind you to get up, it's time to stretch your leg, it's time to eat. And I mean, there are things naturally, even if you're listening to your body, you should know when to do them. You don't need anybody to remind you. But where the apps, if they begin to help, fine. But technology everywhere, we are still human. It
You know,
still
he
cannot
has a more
substitute.
conservative approach to
Yeah, he
issues,
does.
which
I
I
can see.
understand.
He actually he does.
But the technology, they've come to stay. So
No, I
they
know.
are part of our lives.
No, they
So,
come.
Yeah,
people,
Yes.
people rely, some people rely, a lot of people rely on them. You know, it works for them. I mean, a lot of my patients, use the apps because I'm a gynecologist. Use the apps to monitor their ovulation, their, and all. And it works for them. So whatever works for one. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm more
No, it's
open-minded.
whatever works for you. And I'm just saying that our lives
Yeah.
are becoming too regulated now that, as a matter of
Technology
fact,
has to
even the phone, once the areas you browse, it begins to, there's one app where you say, okay, they've updated the memory. And so before you know it, it begins to remind you, this is what. So,
Okay,
yeah.
before we go, like those people that decide to substitute water for beverages and caffeinated drinks, could he have any effect on them? People that would rather take alcohol, take all those beverages rather than taking water. Is there any effects on their health?
Okay. Like the pharmacist said earlier at the beginning that there's no substitute to water. Number one, water is the king. But then, of course, we also understand and accept that some of these beverages, they also, of course, they contain water. So they add to the water intake. But are they safe? Are they the best? They are not. So there's no substitute to water. But why they add to the water intake? But they also have to know about the benefit and the merits of some of it. For instance, caffeine. Caffeine is even far from it, even causes dehydration. You understand? So it's advised that we limit the quantity, the amount of caffeine we consume. We know that because of our busy lifestyle, a lot of people rely on it to stay active, to be active for long. But then it's no substitute for water because even does the opposite, it causes dehydration. Alcohol is another big no as a substitute. Well, alcohol is a diuretic. Even as all those that drink a lot, because you know that once you start drinking, take one first and second bottle, the next thing you want to go and urinate. So you're even losing the fluid. So it's a diuretic. It makes you to even lose fluid. Then the others, the different sodas, fruit juices and all that people take, yeah, but then for most of us, we now want to limit that because of the caloric content. It contains empty calories, so it adds to weight gain. So water is still number one.
Okay.
There's no substitute.
All right, Dr. Mann, advice to people with regards to adopting better hydration habits for better health.
Well, all I'll just say is that it is not for nothing that people say that water is life. So if you know you enjoy life and you want to keep living life at its fullest, make water a companion always and keep drinking water.
Well, some people will say drink water and mind your business. That is for people that like looking for trouble anyway. People that like looking for trouble, they'll tell them to drink water and mind their business. Yeah, so if you have to do that, do that. But what we're basically saying is water is life. If you're in doubt, well, try not drinking water and let's see what happens. Then you come back and tell us if truly water is actually life. Well, from my guest today, you could agree that we are all at a consensus that water actually is very important. It's important that you stay hydrated. It's also very important that you do not get to the point where you're dehydrated before you realize that you need water. Yes, it should be something that has to be part and parcel of you. And for those that you do not want anything to disturb your sleep, well, just like Dr. Mann has already stated, well, you could find a way to get the convenience bucket close to you.
To you.
Yeah, so you could relieve yourself in the middle of the night. And also, even people that store urine, I guess you know that is very bad, right? People that are pressed, they do not want to go and empty their bladder, and they keep storing it. That's also very bad.
Yes,
Yes, because once it's time for you to relieve yourself, You need to
Should
go
find a way.
relieve yourself
Should find a
and
way.
replenish. So basically, what we are saying is that water actually is life, and it's a very important to our overall health. So I would like to thank my guest today on Nonye's Healthy Living Show. I want to thank Dr. Iman Udame. Thank you, sir, for coming on Nonye's Healthy Living Show.
Thank you very much. And I hope we're going to drink water before we leave.
It's even funny because we were talking
There
about
should be
water, and I
water.
saw somebody came in with water. I don't know what happened because water was supposed to be here. How can
Yeah.
we be talking about water?
And then we don't have
We've been
water.
talking since. We don't even live by example. We don't even drink the water, but we'll eventually drink it because we can't be talking, preaching about water. We're not going to drink water. That doesn't make sense. I would also like to thank Dr. Obin Aniaboso, Senior Registrar, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Chukwemeka Odumegu Joko University Teaching Hospital. Dr. Bina, thank you for coming on the Yes Healthy Living Show.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Okay, all right, so this is where we draw the curtain on Nonye's Healthy Living Show. Remember, the First Lady is passionate that everybody adopts a healthy lifestyle because she believes that a healthy man is a happy man. But some people will just say that a healthy man is a wealthy man. But you can be happy, you can be healthy, you can be wealthy, but you're sad. So the governor's wife says that a healthy man is a happy man. And that is why we keep coming on the show to educate you about certain health habits that you need to adopt to stay healthy. And still remember that the Healthy Living exercise is tomorrow, Saturday, at the stadium. So you see, our governor's wife is an all-rounder here and there. Everybody has to be healthy, whether you like it or not. Well, we'll return next week Friday with another exciting episode of Nonye's Healthy Living Show. My name is Priska Wanko. Thank you for watching.